Morning and welcome in. Actually, whatever time you happen to be watching this, I am Coach Ken in the AM, the Wellness Preacher, and I want to welcome you in this morning. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Whatever you got going on, the weekend is over and the week is ahead. Let me help you get started on that. As we start this week, the problem's not the problem is your mindset about the problem. As Dolly Parton said, if you're tired of the path that you are on, let's pave a new one. So let me help you pave a new path. Look, at 54 years, I'm trying to share what I've got. Look, I know there's folks that are probably older than wiser than me, and trust me, I try to listen to them as well when I come online. And I've got a few of those that I follow that have taught me a whole lot about a lot of things. And I hope that as you come in, I might be able to teach you a few things as well. Let me know where you're coming in from. I'm Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska, the Wellness Preacher. 5 things that I want you to think about. Talk to the hand. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras, your supplements? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating your life? And the number one question that I want to encourage you to ask above every other one is, what is the wise thing to do? Not what's right, what's wrong. What is the wise thing to do? What is the wise thing to do? Think that through. Important thing to think about. The book of Proverbs tells us, he who walks with the wise grows wise. Birds of a feather flock together. Be careful who you flock with. Who do you surround yourself with? Who do you let up here in your mind? What do you let into your heart? That makes all the difference in the world. Guys, welcome in. I'm Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska, and I want to welcome you in as you come in today. Talk to the hand. 5 best questions that you can ask about your health. This is part of my life's journey, all right? Where I'm at here is, how are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating yourself? And the best question ever, what is the wise thing to do? Guys, everything's fair game. I want to come in here, and while I'm a nutrition coach and a pastor, I want to help you build who you are, body, mind, and soul. On this Monday, as you start the week, let me know where you're coming in from. I'm Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. Ethan Muldoon, welcome in. Hey, how are you this morning? Good to see you this morning. Welcome to the live today. Just getting started. It's still early in the morning. I find that my crew takes a little while to get up and find me. So I took the weekend off and enjoyed that. Hope you're doing good. Let me know where you're coming in from. I am up in Anchorage, Alaska. And definitely want to say, hey, give me a shout out about where you're coming in from. Where do you call home? Are you somewhere in the world? Are you in the States? Don't give me a street and address. Don't look. I know that I have people of all ages in here, so I want you to protect yourself. I don't want people stalking anybody in here, but I want this to be a place of encouragement. I know, based on the folks that are part of my live and my crew, that people are looking for a place of encouragement. We don't get that enough, and I know there's going to be people that come through here because it's public that are going to say all kinds of things. Look, I want this to be a space for you. I want you to ask those simple questions. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And my little Frankenpinky, right? How are you elevating yourself, right? As you start the week, I want you to think about what Captain Jack Sparrow once said. The problem's not the problem. The problem is your mindset, your attitude about the problem. Dolly Parton had a great one. Probably one of my favorite quotes right alongside that one. If you're tired of the road that you're on, pave a new path. Nothing is saying that you have to stay on the road. And I know this at 54 years of age as well as anybody. You don't have to stay on that path that you're on. If you think that, hey, you know what, I'm only 20, I'm stuck on this path. No, you're not stuck on this path. You're not stuck on that path. Might it be painful to make a change? Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that making a change wouldn't be easy. But the people that you're hanging out with, those ones that you flock with, right? Those people you're surrounding yourself, you don't have to stay with them. I'll tell you a story. I was, when I was in high school, I had a friend of mine who's been my best friend for years. I'll never forget this. We were at the movie theater, and it was Jason and Wes, And there was these other two guys that came along. Now remember, this is, now you don't know this, I grew up in Mississippi, so we drove around in a lot of the back of pickup trucks. There was these two friends, more of Jason than ours, that came by, and we hung out with them for a little bit, and they said, they had a truck. We were being picked up by our parents, and they said, yeah, I didn't have a car yet at that time, so I jumped in the truck, and next thing we know, we're out on these dirt roads, and they're driving like maniacs. And the two guys with my friend is up in the front seat laughing. Me and Wes are in the back of the truck, scared to death that we're getting thrown out. Come to find out, that was their goal. They didn't like me, and I didn't know that. And I'm surrounding myself with somebody that was my friend. As soon as we got back on the road and they stopped at a stoplight, I jumped back out of the truck. They were yelling, "Get back in the truck." I said, "I'm not getting back in the truck." I realized right there, the people that you flock with make all the difference. That was the last time I had really anything to do with Jason. That friendship was over. All those years were gone because I learned what kind of person he was. Maya Angelou once said, when people show you who they really are, believe them the first time. There was enough things about him that I should have paid attention. But I was young and dumb, and I've been old and dumb too. Be careful who you flock with. Surround yourself with the people and be loyal to those that you find worthy of your attention. There are going to be people in this world and life that are going to hurt you. Be careful who you flock with. Now, you think I'm full of crap, then this is not for you. I'm going to call it what it is. I want you to have your best. Talon, standing, good to see you. Where are you coming in from? Welcome in. Welcome in. Glad that you're here. I am Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska, and it is totally okay. My channel stretches the gamut as far as it comes to ages that come in here, right? So wherever you're at. And it's not all about nutrition, all right? My channel is, we focus on that a great deal, but I'm the wellness preacher, and part of this is, if you're dealing with these things, we want to help with that. But I have 5 questions about your health that I always tell people. Talk to the hand. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating? And I want this to be a place where, hey, we can have that conversation and you can be built up on that journey. So let me know where you're coming in from. I am up in Anchorage, Alaska. Get this sucker started, people. Y'all have heard me do a lot of talking here. You came in right now. Welcome in. Glad that you are here. And hope that you've subscribed. If you haven't, do so. Make sure that you like and comment. Where are you coming in from? Y'all do realize that a live doesn't really happen unless you communicate, right? A live really doesn't take off until you type something in that comment. You've heard me throw something out there. Now, I'm not going to tolerate people being rude and mean to each other or nasty. We don't tolerate that in here. There's a lot of other channels. If that's what you want, if you want some like hyper Forsyth, are you Forsyth County, Georgia? Talon, if you are in Forsyth County, Georgia, I'm about to fall over right now. That would be bloody crazy. Is that a yes or a no? Are you in Forsyth County, Georgia? That I haven't seen that in a long. Actually, I've seen it a lot lately, actually, but not here, not all my life. And I don't know many other Forsyths, so that's the only one that I know. Of course, I get around, but I don't get around all over. You still with me? I'm getting my channel popped up here so I can follow along. Cause oh, you're in Branson, so you're over in the Missouri area. Okay, all right. That's cool. I actually lived in St. Louis for 2 years. So I never made it over to Branson. I'm going to have to make it there one of these days. But no, I was Forsyth. I'm glad you clarified. I lived in Forsyth County for, goodness knows, 8-9 years down in Georgia. So that's cool though. I always loved Missouri. Missouri was a great place. I hated leaving, but needed to. It was the right time, and I moved down to. That was where I moved from Missouri down to Georgia. As far as that goes. Oh, good morning, folks that are coming in. All right, good deal, good deal. Man, I've got some allergies. I started watering last night. I haven't had that in a while. I don't know if it's my cats or what, or my dogs, or my bird. I don't know which it is. It is. We spent the weekend working on taxes. Fun times. Woo, that's a good time, right? No, not really. And we got our home. Those of y'all that don't know that are coming in, we got our home on the market and accepted an offer. We are waiting this week for the new buyers are going to do a walkthrough and home inspection. Used to be in Springfield. Oh, good deal. I was only in St. Louis for 2 years. I was youth pastor there in at Manchester United Methodist. Had a lot going on. We had our first kid while we were there. I spent most of my time probably in St. Louis. Went up to Hannibal a little bit, and I'm trying to remember where else did we go. I really stayed right around the St. Louis area. 2 years didn't give me a whole lot of time. We did a lot of trips. We did a lot of other things, mission trips and stuff. So we didn't get to a whole lot of Missouri. I was hoping to do more because Missouri is a pretty cool state. Did some backpacking while I was there as well. It was some good hiking that I really got to enjoy. Welcome in, folks that are coming through. I am Coach Ken up in Anchorage, Alaska, and we're here talking about life, about being the best you can, body, mind, and soul, and the 5 questions for your health that you should be asking. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And little Frank and Pinky here, how are you elevating yourself? And the best question overarching is, what is the wise thing to do with each one of those? So, how are you eating? The number one thing, I'm going to give you this one right here. Increase your fiber. Number one thing that I will say over and over, increase your fiber. Now, that doesn't mean that, I know there's the keto crowd, there's the carnivore crowd, all right? Simply eating and starting your meal with a vegetable, all right? A good cruciferous vegetable, like a good salad. Keep it simple. You don't have to get complicated. Start there. Fiber is the carbohydrate that controls your blood sugar. You control that, you start to control everything related to insulin resistance. And maybe you deal with migraines. When you increase your soluble fiber by 10 grams, it increases or decreases your chances of migraines by 11%. My dad lives next to St. Louis. Yeah, I lived in Manchester and Kirkwood in my time. We moved into Kirkwood and then moved over into Manchester. After the first year. One of the reasons I was busy all the time, right? And then having a kid did that too. So we want to make sure we do that. That getting that soluble fiber, all right, is a huge impact. When you increase your fiber, you're also going to decrease your systolic and diastolic blood pressure, all right? If you're dealing with anxiety and depression, which is an overarching issue regardless of how old you are, right? I know, I've been there. That right there is feeding the gut microbiome. You feed the gut microbiome, that's where over 80% of your hormones related to your mental health are down here in the gut. So when you increase that fiber, you're feeding your gut, your serotonin and your dopamine regulates. That helps your overall mental health, right? So if you're dealing with anxiety and depression, look, and I know if you're coming on, some of my kids that are on here, it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have to work on that. So how are you eating? That's the first thing I want you to think about. How are you exercising? You do those 2 things, you're going to be A-okay, all right? You're going to get started because you're going to be getting a lot of those vitamins when you start eating correctly, all right? So we want to exercise. You want to control those blood glucose levels. 1 minute of exercise, 1 minute of walking will lower your blood sugar levels 1 point. I eat a lot of meat. Ethan, good, good. Protein is huge. That is so very important. Absolutely. We want to eat a lot of meat. All right. A lot of people don't understand good proteins. And you can get meat, protein from meat. You can get it from a lot of plants, but certainly meats are one of the best places to get protein. When you combine that with that good salad, that good fiber, all right, that's going to be one of the best things to help with anxiety and depression. And I can tell you that in Nixa, I'm not sure where Nixa is. I don't think I've ever heard of Nixa. So that's what we want to do. And if you'll eat 1 gram, here's what I tell people. So the order that we eat is really fiber, fats, and proteins. All right, that's where we want to put the priority. Things that are breads, rice, pastas, corn, potatoes, those carbohydrates, we treat them like dessert because they become sugar. So we put those at the end of the meal. Now, I eat them, okay? This is I want you to have food freedom. And when we learn to eat right, you get to have food freedom. So fiber, 30 grams of fiber. Fats, 60 grams of fat. 90 grams of protein. We want to maintain your ideal weight and health. A minimum of, we want to shoot for 90 grams of protein. Gotcha. Is cashew butter healthy? Yeah. Hey, Eugenia. Yeah, cashew butter is absolutely great. Just make sure you're looking at the label. Or if you get it done in the store, you put it into a food processor. Yeah, cashew butter's fine. We just want to avoid the sugars. There are over 200 different names of sugar, so just be careful if you're buying it in the store. Just look at what you get. All right, like we get when we buy butters, we okay. I thought it was cashew butter. Yeah, cashew nuts are great. Yeah, absolutely. Cashews are a great source of fat and a little bit of protein in there. Great way to get that in. So getting that walk in, it doesn't have to be much. Your exercise doesn't have to be much. It's just moving. That's huge. So that's the exercising. What are your extras? All right. Now this is where you may want to talk to your doctor. All right. You may want to do some more research and learning. We're very limited into what we do in my home as a nutrition coach. Absolutely. Water with lemon, totally fine. Don't have too much lemon. The thing about lemon is the acidity in that lemon can definitely damage enamel. Now, Dr. G, my wife being a doctor, that tells you a lot. We're always a little bit concerned about our teeth, but it is a fine thing to do. All right, water with a little squeeze of lemon, totally fine. So we're talking about what are those things that we eat. And there's a couple that are right out of the gate that we talk about because most people have this as an issue. Magnesium is probably the number one mineral that we're not getting. So when you think about it, getting a good magnesium. Now a lot of people are glycinate, and absolutely that's one of the easily absorbed in the body. There's I think it's 6 or 7 different types of magnesium. I do a powder called Calm. Ethan, there are some doctors that do that. I'm married to a dentist, so let me share with you a little bit. So this is me. I'll pull this one up. So this is me and Dr. G. I know she doesn't look like a dentist right there, right? I'm going to take her word for it. We do toothpaste. You wouldn't have to, all right? You're not absorbing the fluoride. The way people think it's like you would have to eat the toothpaste. You got to remember that when you do that, and most people say it's because of fluoride, you're not having that much there. In addition to that, one of the things that we do is we drink a tea, and this is what our extra is called Unimate. This has theobromine in it, and theobromine re-enamelizes the teeth. And so I'm going to go with my wife. She's been doing dentistry for 30 years. So if there's anything, certainly, I had to be careful. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. So if you don't want to, the thing about it is you could go with a baking soda. and make a baking soda paste, you definitely want to be brushing your teeth though. That is the number one thing to do. Every time you consume a carbohydrate, that becomes a sugar in the mouth. So when you have those breads, rice, pastas, corn, and potatoes, that's going to become glucose. We don't want to have to chase that. All right, that's the last thing that we want to do. All right, but brushing the teeth is a key part of that. I think toothpaste is still a good thing. I'm not eating it, right? Absolutely. There is absolutely nothing redeemable about either one of those. Absolutely. Vaping and smoking, definitely. There is absolutely nothing redeeming about either one of those when it comes to health, Ethan. Yeah, definitely, for sure. So, the magnesium, huge part of heart health. D3 and K2 go hand in hand, and D3 is really important for mental health. Here in Alaska, that is huge because of our sunlight. Like during the winter months, we get like 20 hours of darkness and 4 hours of daylight. So getting D3, and because the body being exposed to the sun, is a huge part of it. Now, here's one thing that you're not getting told, is when you are insulin resistant, this is why you have to have sunscreen more than any other thing. Your body is more sensitive. Your skin does not regularly do what it should do. Since I have reverse insulin resistance, and most people, the need for sunscreen drops. Because the body is, your human growth hormone increases, all right? And you are improving your overall health, including the skin on your body. So that is so very important. So we drink a tea. The balance, this is the fiber that we make sure to have every single day. This has a B complex and multivitamin in it, so I don't have to worry about that. Part of that has to do with neuropathy and insulin resistance and diabetes, which Dr. G and I have been diagnosed with. We reverse that. It's one of the reasons that I come in and I talk about this. So every morning I'm drinking my tea. If you come in, you're going to see me with this bottle with my tea. This is raspberry pomegranate is the one that I drink. And this is one of those things, it crushes my food cravings. It helps to regulate my blood sugar, even as I'm waking up this morning. It gives me energy because it has natural, it comes from the yerba mate tree. So it is a purified, concentrated form of yerba mate. And yerba mate is known as the drink of the gods down in Brazil and Argentina. So we drink that I drink it every single morning. All right? That helps my body to regulate, gives me energy during the morning and throughout the day. I'm going to sip on this all day long. And so as far as an energy drink goes, without sugar, without causing the crashes, it actually improves my memory, helps with the brain fog, helps as a vascular dilator for your blood, makes your blood flow better, all right? It helps to regulate. So we do that, and before every meal I have the fiber. So that's the extra part right there. What are your extras? So the fourth one is, anybody remember that one? Talk to the hand. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? Who are you building up? Birds of a feather flock together. I told this story about, my friend getting me in the back of that truck, trying to get me thrown out and all that. I've learned, even as an adult, I've picked some poor people. I've picked people that have stolen money from me. I don't have money to steal. And I'm talking about, really, holy cow. I'm just like, what happened? I've found people that would tell me one thing and seek to manipulate me because of who I am as a pastor. They think somehow that gets them somewhere. And that's not how God works. So what I want to encourage you is, when I ask the question, what is the wise thing to do? He who grows wise walks with the wise. Who are you flocking with? If you're on this platform and you're scrolling around listening to people that are bloviating, here's a big word I don't use often, right? That are yelling, that are hollering, that are jumping down people's throats, that's who you want to flock with. You got to realize that person is now in your head. You're putting that up here, right? You're putting that up here. You're totally welcome. It's one of the reasons I'm here. I'm hoping people will catch on and be here, right? To give you an alternative. Because who are you flocking with matters. You are going to become like the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And if one of those 5 people are some of the people that are here, be careful. They're now in your head. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Who are you flocking with? All right? So I want to encourage you. Be in a place where people are building you up. Being in a place that you're learning, right? This is what this is for. This is why I'm sitting here in education. Sometimes I get on the blog version and people version as well. So, different group of folks. Either way. But the last thing is, how are you elevating? Now, that's all about the spiritual soul. One is the mindset, one is the body, and then one is the soul. What are you doing to connect with the divine? However you understand God. Now, y'all got to understand something here. Yes, I'm the wellness preacher for a reason. I am an ordained clergy in the United Methodist Church. I tell people, I've had people challenge me on here, totally fine. I've been on TikTok, get challenged all the time, totally fine. I know who I am. You can find out who I am. If you go over to Google and type in Ken Hagler, you're going to find what you need to find out about who I am. You can find my clergy record. You can find that I'm a certified nutrition coach. You can find that I'm a realtor. You can find that I'm an author, right? You can find that I've been doing videos for a long time, okay? That's who I am. My life is there. I have a whole blog. I'm a widower. I lost my first wife to colon cancer. What do you want to know about me? As opposed to many, my life has been an open book. More so than probably most. Now, my wife, Dr. G, now sometimes goes, I share too much. But then that's part of what the faith journey is all about. How are you elevating? How are you connecting to the divine? For me, the season of Lent right now in the Christian church is an important time for me. This is probably one of my favorite seasons of the year. Good morning, LP. Good to see you this morning. Awesome. Glad that you're here. Welcome back in. I took the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, I think last week. I don't think I was on Friday morning, but I know I was off Saturday and Sunday. So welcome in. So I want to encourage, this morning, one of the things that I do, this is my little devotional book that I do every morning during Lent. I have a set of prayers that I pray. When I started Lent, this is a very focused time for me. I'm in a period of discernment, and I have been for a while. Ever since I've always done that as a pastor. That's always been a part. It is good to see you. It's good to see I've got some new folks. Ethan is on here. Talon has been new to me today. Eugena's been on before, but Ethan and Talon are new, so it's good to see some of my favorite people on here here in the morning. So I have been in this period of discernment for quite a while, and it's definitely been part of this journey. So I want to encourage you. What is it you do? For me, it has been discerning what those prayers are going to be. So I fast every day, and I have been in that pattern for quite a while. So fasting, I started doing it for my health, but then I started digging into how it's important. Now, this is the season of Ramadan for Muslims, so fasting and prayer is a huge commitment. And I've had a lot of folks that are Muslim that have come through here and had some great conversations. So as we kind of do this journey, we add to that prayer. Now, for some people, it's all about denial, but for others, look at fasting as a time of purification. And we look at what our body does. I think it's natural for us to go. We think about it, we're denying ourselves when we're fasting. But spiritually speaking, is it not purification? We know that what happens in our bodies, it's good for our body, absolutely, and it's good for the soul. when we take advantage of that time to realize what the body does when we don't eat, when we fast. What's going to happen is our body starts to purify. People talk about detoxing, but yeah, it's good for the body because we're not eating and our body detoxes all that sugar, all of those toxins in our body that got stored, because insulin is going to take all of those things even to protect your body. Your liver is going to be working as the filter, but many of those things that could harm you, the insulin actually stores as fat. So when we are fasting, our body taps into that. When insulin is high, then fat is high. When insulin is low, the fat will go. I always say when insulin is high, the fat will defy. It doesn't want to go anywhere. Insulin's like the bodyguard, right? Not only is it putting things into the cells, and it's sitting there protecting it. It's saying you can't take it. You can't use it. So the fat cells keep growing. But when we are fasting, when we put ourselves in that state, our body's human growth hormone increases, right? We start to cleanse out all of those things in there. The body, when you get to 16 hours, gets to autophagy. So there's cleansing right there. That's the body. The actual term means eating itself. So the body is going through and picking out those toxins, picking out those free radicals, germs, cells that are dying, and burning those off. Basically recycling those. Huge impact on our overall health that way. So we hit these places that we are becoming new people. I'll show you. So this is me and Dr. G. I want you sit there and just get a real picture, because people say it all the time, and I don't think they're wrong at all. That when you see our picture about what we did, right, with our health, people say, man, we look at you guys. It looks like you were aging in reverse, right? When we were diagnosed with diabetes versus this last summer, right, we aged in reverse. That's the body's human growth hormone. This is the power of fasting. It is a renewal of the body. And when you add to that prayer, it becomes a more of a life-changing experience. And you know what? It can totally change. Exactly. Totally doesn't look like the same people. Totally doesn't look like the same people. So, but we are. We are the same people. And I had somebody on the live say, you guys look the same. It looks like the same people in the picture. Well, yeah, kind of, because it is the same people, but not. So that's what renewal does. And we do that body, mind, and soul. And I think this is where we get off on messing up health. We think it's just the body. We ignore the mind. We ignore the spirit and the soul. And we do that to our detriment. We are whole beings. We were not made to be just one part of it. We were created to be body, mind, and soul. And when we neglect any one of those areas, right, it affects all of us. So those 5 questions: talk to the hand. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? Who are you building up? Which is what this channel is for. And how are you elevating? And the best question ever is, what is the wise thing to do? What is the wise thing to do? That is the overarching question. What is it that we can be doing, all right, that is the most wise? And part of it is, who do you flock with? Birds of a feather flock together. I try to flock with great people. I'm married to a great woman. I want to learn and grow from her, and we flock together. I listen to my wife, it saved my life. I listened to my wife, and it saved my life. It's that simple. When you flock with the right people, and the right people can make all the difference. The right people can make all the difference. So when you come in here, this is so very important. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating? Any of those questions, put them out there. But to ask that overarching one, what is the wise thing to do? I'm a lucky guy. I have outkicked my coverage. In my life, I did that twice, right? So there we go. So here's the thing. When we're coming along, let me know where you guys are coming in from. I am Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. And let me know where you all are coming in from. What is going on in your world on this Monday morning? I want you to think about this week as it gets going, underway, some of those mindset shifts to make. Think about this for a second, just for a moment. When you look at your life, who are you flocking with? What is the wise thing to do? You are going to become like the 5 people. Notice how the hand keeps coming back into play here, right? Talk to the hand. Who are you flocking with? You are going to become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who are you with at work? Who are you with when you come home? Who are you with when you're out playing and doing whatever? You are going to become like the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. Whoever you let up in here is who is going to shape who you become. And at 54, I can tell you, I've let many times the wrong people up here in my head. I've let the wrong voices. I've spent time with the wrong people. That's coming as a pastor. That's coming with somebody that's lived life. You've got a choice to make. You've got a choice to make, whatever it happens to be. Now, like I said, I listened to my wife and it saved my life. When I was diagnosed with diabetes in 2023 of December, I didn't know what to do. And I heard from other doctors and from other other people with diabetes, and there's very few of us, but a lot of us have gotten this from doctors. Just go eat less and move more, and got no guidance. They didn't put us on meds. We just kind of were left to our own devices. My wife was diagnosed with prediabetes the very next month. She got on the phone and she called a nurse and a diabetes educator. Actually, the very same nurse and diabetes educator I did a live with earlier this morning. And so she told my wife, she said, look, you're a doctor, go to the PDR.net, the provider's digital reference. I want you to look up Unimate imbalance. I want you to look at, because this is in the very same book, the very same website that you do all your prescription writing. So that's where she went. Dr. G went there. And so in that very month, and actually February, she started to drink the tea and the fiber. And within a few short weeks, her neuropathy, her fibromyalgia all reversed. She started to get her movement back. She started to be more flexible. She started to walk more. We actually went to a play, and that we were, I think it was Lion King, I can't remember now, or maybe it was Aladdin. And it was, our seats were up on the 3rd floor, and I was going to the elevator because Dr. G didn't take the stairs. She said, nope, we're taking the stairs. Sylvia, how are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Everybody's slowly making their way. It's a slow going on a Monday morning. I guess everybody's rolling out of bed. So she went up those stairs, and it was like, holy cow, it was a different person just within a month. So May 1, I started to drink the tea and the fiber as well. Within the first week, my migraine stopped. And my snoring stopped. I started to see my blood pressure come back down. I started to see my waistline shrink. Before I started to see the weight come off, I was 200 pounds. All of that changed. And so when I talk about extras, I'm talking about how that reinforces and makes possible and easier everything else about eating and exercising. I didn't have to make any changes. Just drinking the tea and the fiber made eating the right way so much easier. It supercharged that reversal and getting control of insulin resistance and my health overall. So when we look at that list, I'm going to go back over here and pull this up. When we look at that list of things, how many of those do you look at and go, I maybe deal with that. I know somebody dealing with that. I don't want to deal with that anymore. And I'm tired of hearing, not that I don't love them and I don't want to hear what's going on. I want to see them healthy. How many of you in here have people in your life that you know are sick and you want to see healthy? How many of you have people that you care about that you want to see become their best? How many of you want to do that? LP? You're dealing with several of them. So how you're eating is a huge part of that. How we are eating is a huge part of that. What we do is a big part of those things. What are some of the ones that if you feel comfortable, right? Because I was dealing with anxiety and depression, periodic brain fog, all right? I had low testosterone. I didn't have erectile dysfunction, but low testosterone, the diabetes, gout and neuropathy. Those were ones that were creeping up on me. I started with gout when I moved to Alaska, which is incredibly painful. All right. Which is, it's part of the liver, not being able to detox all of the crap that we've been eating, right? So neuropathy, that came right after that. That's where that B12, it's not getting your blood flowing the way that it should into our extremities, all right? And that neuropathy is what leads to amputations, right? Those sleep issues, thyroid, diabetes, right? Right? Arthritis, the inflammation, the blood pressure, all those things. So how are we eating? This is as simple as it gets. It doesn't have to get complicated. How are we eating? All right? I want you to think about this for a second. This is just the simplest thing. Your grandparents were right. Eat your veggies first. That's the most important thing. What the science says, the studies, the nutrition, fiber, proteins, and fats. In that order. We want to start with fiber, proteins, and fats. All right? Leave carbs to the end of the meal. Carbs become sugar. And when we consume that sugar, our insulin increases. So blood sugar increases, insulin increases. Blood sugar, insulin, blood sugar, insulin, blood sugar, insulin. Boom. But what we need to be doing is allowing the pancreas to jump into this, right? And do its other thing. Not just insulin, but glucagon. We want to get to glucohomeostasis, where the body is regulating that. Because that glucagon is what's going to tell the fat stores to get out of the fat stores. We want to tap into that. But if insulin is there, the pancreas can only make one of those hormones at a time. And right now, because we live in this modern food environment, right, we eat all day long, all right? This is how we've been eating right here. We've been eating like this 6 to 11 meals a day. We were not made to eat that way, folks. We were not made to eat that way. And you want to know? Here's the scary one. Let me share this picture with you. This is the scary one. Let's put that one up there. This is the scary one. Look at the difference. In our modern food environment, this is not to shame anybody. 1960, before and as processed foods were developing and we were getting things in bags and boxes and bottles with barcodes, this was who we are. Before we were eating 6 to 11 meals a day. We get to 2026, how much are we eating? How much were you taught to eat? We created, as a society, a meal that never even existed. Breakfast. Everybody y'all heard of that? Break fast. Now, how many of y'all have heard that that is the most important meal of the day? If you've heard that, type me in the comment. If you've heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, type me in the comment. All right? And what does that breakfast usually entail? Cereal, oatmeal, right? A muffin, a donut. What do we normally associate with? Well, when we start there, we're spiking our blood sugar. Your blood sugar and your insulin is at the lowest in the morning, right? You've heard that, LP, right? Huge impact on us. And we've had fiber. What do we have when we have that breakfast? We're going to have juice, right? We'll have juice, apple juice, whatever, orange juice, doesn't matter. In apples, that peel is pectin. That is fiber. And everything in nature that God made that would spike our blood sugar with fructose and glucose in it, guess what? It comes packaged in fiber. What does fiber do? It slows the digestion and it changes the profile of our food. It slows the absorption of our sugars in our body. That's what fiber does. That's why it's so very important to have in our diet. So we start with fiber, 30 grams of fiber, 60 grams of fats, and 90 grams of protein. That's what we want to be eating. All right, ideally 2 meals a day. I know it's Lent. We're not talking about 40 days and 40 nights of fasting. That's not what we're doing, folks. We're not talking about that. And not eating anything. We're talking about each day, stop snacking. If we could do that, just stop snacking, would see that transformation. But this modern food dilemma that we have is coming from every time we're eating, we're increasing those insulin levels. So how are we eating matters. Combining intermittent fasting and meal sequencing would change everything about our health. Now, how about that exercising piece, right? We want to talk about that. When you exercise, we're not talking about doing a whole lot. Let me show you all this picture. So this is me and Dr. G out fishing this last summer here in Alaska. All right. Now, you look at that and go, okay, looks like a lot of fun. That was exercise. You remember we talked about that walking. 1 minute of walking will lower 1 point on that glucose monitor. You've got a CGM, you want to lower blood sugar, 1 minute of walking will change that. That's it. We're not talking about crazy workouts. But that right there, that was a workout. We had to lug all of our stuff down to the river. We had to spend time casting the reels. We got to bring the fish in. We got to do that. All of that is part of what that exercising was. You can have fun with your exercise. You can have fun doing those things. Nothing is stopping you from that. That's your call, though. That is your call to get going with that. Okay? Now, we do that. How are you exercising? What are you doing? What do you enjoy doing? Type in the comment. What are some of the things that you guys enjoy doing? Is it swimming? Is it walking? Is it biking? Right? Maybe it's roller skating. Maybe it's bowling. You pick. Maybe it's fishing. Maybe it's hunting. Right? What can you do to get up and move? Is it taking the stairs? We're not talking about becoming Arnold Schwarzenegger here. We're not here to pump you up, right? We're here about your health. So how are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? All right, those supplements. This is what we started doing right here. I don't take a lot. I don't have to. I get it from my food. I get it from being metabolically healthy. I get what I need. And I drink the tea and the fiber to make sure that my body gets pretty much everything I need. That's simple. Now let's get into this one. Who are you encouraging? I want to encourage you. I mean, where are you guys coming in from? All right? Who are you encouraging? The reason I share what I do and became a nutrition coach is because I need to share what I know. If I don't put it out there and listen to other people and give some of that give and take, right, I can't learn and I can't really get to know, because once you learn something, when you teach it, it goes into your long-term memory. The things that I've learned here in 54 years, I teach because if I don't, they're in my long-term memory. So I want to share them, all right? Because I don't want y'all to have to make the mistakes I've made, right? I had somebody ask me, all this that you talk about with Unimate or balance and all that, would you teach these to your kids? I would have if I'd have known about it when my kids were younger. I sure would have. It would have changed a lot of things health-wise for our family. So who are you encouraging? Who are you building up? Are you giving back to others? Are you a volunteer? Let me ask you that one. When you see somebody in need that needs to have the door held open, do you help somebody? When you see somebody on the side of the road, do you stop and help? Or do you just drive by and ignore them? What are you doing to encourage other people? Is it a note? Do you say hey to people? What is it that you're doing to encourage people when it comes to their life, right? How are you building up others? And how are you elevating? What is your spiritual practice to build yourself up? What are you putting a priority on in your life? Those things matter more than anything. Those 5 questions. And then what is the wise thing to do? What is the wise thing to do? Now that's going to come in different forms. You're going to have to answer that question based on really what you come to know, right? Guys, I am Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska, and this is Coach Ken in the AM. Man, I tell you what, Monday has been slow going. My word, this is one of the slowest lives that I've done in a while. But I'm glad that you guys are here. Tell me who's still in the room. What are y'all doing? Welcome in as we are on this Monday morning. Tell me where y'all are coming in from. Tell me what's going on. Is there anything along those questions that maybe has percolated? Some of y'all thrown out some good questions earlier, and now it's gotten really quiet. So it's not much of a live if people don't share much, right? My life isn't really meant for just me to just sit here and run my mouth. Um, that, that gets kind of old real fast, right? Um, so throw it out there. Tell me, what do you got going on? I'm just sitting in my chair playing games. Talon. All right. Well, I'm glad that you're still here. What game? Well, Sheriff, what games are you playing? What are you up to? Who else is in the room? Wow, I did that and everybody disappeared. Nobody wanted to talk. My goodness. Woo, that's scary. Um, that's a funny thing. It has been, man, has it been a slow time today. But hey, that's all good. Rocket League. What is Okay, you got me. What is Rocket League? I don't even know what Rocket League is. You're gonna have me. You got me on it. You stumped me. That is a new one for me. Rocket League. The extent of my gaming was Lego, all of the Lego Star Wars and Lego games, and Muppet Race Mania has been my favorite game of all time. I could play me some serious Muppet Race Mania. That would have been the original PlayStation. So, Rocket League. All right, so you're dealing is that a racing game? That's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, it's not been cool. Looks cool. Looks like that'd be fun. Definitely would keep people's attention for sure. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I just pulled it up because I'm always curious. So that's what I love about doing this. I get to be on my phone and I jump over on my computer and can look at things and get a chance to know stuff. But that's awesome. Cool. Good deal. Very cool. Folks that are coming through, welcome in. Where are you guys coming from? Where are y'all coming from? Type in the chat. It's a car game, but mixed with soccer. Okay, cool. All right. That would be fun. Like I said, I did always like Muppet Race Mania. I'm a big Muppets fan. My favorite Christmas movie is Muppet Christmas Carol. Probably ranks in my top 5 movies of all time. I love A Christmas Carol and I love the Muppets. So that was always a good one. But it's, it's like Mario Kart, only it's all the Muppet characters with their personalities and was it bombs, boomerang fish that you could throw out? So many different things. It was a lot of fun. In all the movies. Well, I am going to sit there. It's coming to the top of the hour, and I am going to need to jump off. So I appreciate Talon. It's been great to meet you today. I hope that you subscribed and follow along. LP, thank you for being in here. We had Ethan. Not sure if Ethan's still around. Anybody, if you guys subscribed, I appreciate it. Please reach out and let me know if you haven't, if you've got questions about insulin resistance, about what I do and how we help people. This is my contact. If you want to grab that, a reminder to subscribe. But if you grab that QR code will take you over to my page. And if you want to reach out to me, that is my link tree for more information. That I'd love to answer any questions. I'm gonna let's see, I'm gonna take this one down, and this is our real quick. Healthy Together and Feeling Great. This right here is our Facebook group. It was great to see you. Yep, Mario Kart. So Healthy Together and Feeling Great is our Facebook group. If you would like to know more about health, many people have come through here looking for and asked me about recipes and want me to talk about that. Make sure you go there. We have a 10-day sugar detox that is 10 days of meal planning, recipes to help you on this journey. If you are trying to reverse insulin resistance, it is a huge help. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you take that QR code, learn more about that. If you want to know more about Unimate and Balance, which is what we drink right here, if you're interested in having the nutrition and health coaching, and that'll include if you need life coaching in the midst of that, it'll all go right here. That's how we do it. So awesome, Talon. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you're here. All right, go get the day. Make it golden. All right, go get it. Go do the best you can with whatever you have in front of you. Go be excellent to one another and go be excellent to yourself. Y'all have an awesome day. We'll be back here tomorrow. We'll see you back around on the flip side. Take care, y'all.